think they use those for displays.
Yeah, sorry, someone just interrupted my stream. But they're displaying in support of Planned Parenthood. And down the hill there is a rally by members of these groups that are against Planned Parenthood, and the federal and state funding goes to some Planned Parenthood services for medical care that is not related to abortion. Federal law bans government funding of abortions, except in rare cases. But other services like cancer screening, sexually transmitted disease screening and treatment, and other related services, plus educational programs. And so there are not very many people that are hanging out here. The idea is just to be a visual display as a counter to the rally that is going on down there. So I'm hanging out by these pink decorated cars, and this will go on till noon Central Time.
10:03. Chop chop.
Yeah, things like that always start a little late.
Well, and everybody arrives really late.
Yep. You tell them what time it's supposed to start, and then people show up late. It happens all the time.
Start proceedings. As I say, if you're in the trees, please come in the middle. If you're up here and not speaking, please move down there. If you are behind me and not speaking, please move down there as well. This is just incredible that so many of you have turned out. We are going to start proceedings as we should, with the national anthem, which is going to be sung by Shannon Seals. She is a senior at Simpson College, and this is going to be good because she's a vocal performance major, right? So give it up, please, to Shannon Seals, ladies and gentlemen.
So you will hear the anti-Planned Parenthood rally speakers as well, because of the speaker system that is set up here. Some of these groups that are here busted, they bust in people from probably a couple of locations. So.
Okay, Iowa, for those of you who don't know, and I know people have driven far and wide to be here, Iowa
there is probably
Bosco High School.
That leads to different approaches on
several hundred, maybe
in the state of Iowa.
200 to 300. I can't tell through the trees early.
But people who do not agree with each other on how to deal with that issue have come together today to to stand behind this microphone, because there is one thing we all agree on, and that is we have to stop the trafficking in dead baby parts.
That is based on a fabricated, hoaxed video.
It's my great pleasure to welcome our first speaker, Al Governor, Governor Terry Branstad. Governor?
That video was heavily edited. I call this guy brain dead.
Good morning. It's a beautiful day in Iowa.
That's the only thing I agree with you with, brain dead.
Simon, thank you for that nice introduction. I'm pleased to be here with my fellow Iowans, people like me who want to stand up for the most vulnerable, the unborn. I want to thank my friend Jennifer Bowen of the Iowa Right to Life for her tireless work in advancing the pro-life movement and organizing today's rally. I first ran for the Iowa legislature in 1972, and you may recall the infamous Roe versus Wade decision was made in January 22nd, 1983, after I'd just been in the legislature a few days. And I've been fighting for the pro-life movement ever since, and we're not going to quit.
This guy is one of the co-founders of ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council.
Like all of you, I was appalled on seeing the videos of Planned Parenthood employees haggling over aborted baby body parts. The detail in which they go into, talking specifically about how to keep more valuable body parts intact, was truly sickening. After seeing the video, I've asked the Iowa Department of Public Health and the Department of Human Services to review any and all contracts that involve Planned Parenthood. We want to see that no tax money in this state has gone in the past or will it in the future go to fund abortions or abortion-related services. I'm pleased to report that the state of Iowa does not provide funding to Planned Parenthood for abortions, and there is not a line item in the budget for Planned Parenthood. I am proud of the pro-life legislation that we've worked together on over the years, a requirement that every woman who seeks an abortion get an opportunity to see an ultrasound. And I've seen those ultrasounds from my grandchildren, and they're powerful. We also passed parental notification should any minor seek an abortion. And in the past 2 years, I'm proud to say, no Medicaid-funded abortions have occurred in the state of Iowa.
I love how he's dodging the fact that it never has in the past.
Abortions in Iowa have dropped 34%, and Planned Parenthood has been closing some of their offices.
Because they've moved them.
More misleading statements.
You for life as I have throughout my entire public career. I was deeply disappointed that recently the Iowa Supreme Court sided with Planned Parenthood and against the Board of Medicine and against the District Court judge's decision on telemed abortion rules. I'm deeply disappointed in that court. The Iowa Department of Public
Telemed is a system where a patient consults with a doctor via a live video feed, where the doctor in one location can advise the patient who is in another location, and then the staff at the location where the parent or the patient is will then carry out the doctor's orders.
From those two departments and consider how we can continue to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money and working to protect the unborn.
You can be a good steward of taxpayers' money by ditching ALEC.
Our priority will remain the same, ensuring that women have a high standard of care with access
There are people still arriving here.
is also heard.
So by the time this thing ends at noon, there could be 500 people here.
I'm showing you my commitment on this issue. On January 22nd,
But they all have to see it. There's pink on these cars that are right here.
in Iowa, since the very first governor of Iowa, was my son Marcus Andrew Branstad. He was born on Super Bowl Sunday, the 11th anniversary of the Roe versus Wade decision. He was supposed to come on the 24th of January, but he came 2 days early. A signal from God on the pro-life issue.
I doubt
I
that.
was very proud at the pro-life rally that afternoon at the cathedral to announce the birth of my young son Marcus Andrew Branstad. I want you to know, every time I look at you,
There is a plane, low-flying plane overhead.
yes, we are. We have children.
Life and
And
signs for
I
God.
want to do all I can to stand with you and work with you for the pro-life movement. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you, Governor Branstad. We really appreciate it. Next on our agenda, because this is really important on a state level, we can't do things in the state. It's going to take a committed caucus in the House here to get things done. But we do know that the leadership of the state wants things to happen. Proof of that, not only do we have the governor, we have Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, good morning, and I just want to start by saying thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time to be here and for diligently fighting on behalf of the unborn. I also want to thank good friend Jennifer Bowen and Simon Conway for putting this rally together by gathering people together so that we can continue to speak out. We are here today to speak out against Planned Parenthood, but most importantly, we are here in support of life. Over the past 5 weeks, with the release of each new video by the Center for Medical Progress, my disgust, like yours, has only
That
grown.
group
We
might
have
have to
seen
be
Planned Parenthood executives
investigated.
laughing while sipping wine and joking and talking about Lamborghinis, all while discussing how they will abort babies and sell their parts. They've even gone so far as to alter the abortion procedures for certain organs that demand the highest price. This is a war on life, and we need to fight each and every day for life.
She is just moving.
We must, speaking to the choir here, we need the choir to sing, but we must remain vigilant. Vigilant soldiers focused on our mission and our
She has to leave to go elsewhere, but there's this man here who is basically standing guard over these cars while they remain here. The owners have left them here to be a visual display during this rally, and so he wants to ensure that no one bothers these cars until the owners can come and drive them away, and so that they can take their pink off.
Like us, they believe
And I will remain here until the end, until people come, because
but they acted.
I want to watch people react to the pink that is on these cars. That's why I'm here.
In their bottom line. I want you to know that Governor Branstad and I continue to
And plus you will be hearing some of the misstatements, lies, half-truths that these speakers are speaking. The pops that you're hearing, balloons, are overinflated, or the heat of the sun reflecting off of the cars, or just the heat from the sun is popping the balloons, so that's why the pops are you're hearing.
The Iowa Supreme Court turned their backs on Iowa women and turned to Planned Parenthood.
Someone just said these are the pro-baby killer cars. So there's one reaction.
I know that women
I'm
need to have
standing
access to high quality
this way because
in our
I want to
state,
keep the sun
they do.
out of the
As I
picture.
stand here today before you, I make the song down. I will always side with Iowa women and higher standards of care, always. Here in Iowa, Governor Branstad and I are committed to ensuring that no taxpayer dollars go to abortion-related services. At the state level, Planned Parenthood does not have a line item in the budget. We are ensuring that the Iowa Department of Human Services and the Iowa Department of Public Health are thoroughly reviewing funding that goes to Planned Parenthood. But federal action may still be required to fully terminate all funding for Planned Parenthood and to shift it to other providers that will continue to provide women health services. And I want to take this opportunity to applaud United States Senator Joni Ernst for working to defund Planned Parenthood at the federal level while ensuring that women still have access to high-quality...
Joni Ernst is a Koch brothers lackey.
So in the meantime, this is going to take a dual track. We're going to have to fight it at every single level, as Simon said.
She is, in my view, an extremist on many things.
We can do at the state level. Just this last week, we met with a group of Iowa legislators to discuss Iowa's path moving forward. We recommended that they ask Attorney General Tom Miller to investigate whether Iowa Planned Parenthood is selling aborted baby parts like their colleagues across the country. And we're going to continue to request that they take action and investigate. As Lieutenant Governor of this great state, I remain committed to the pro-life cause. I'm a proud member of the leadership team of the National Pro-Life Women Caucus, and these are leaders who are stepping up to advocate and protect life and encourage women and individuals to run for office that share that common goal. We must continue to fight for the unborn and protect the sanctity of life. We must stay faithful to our cause and committed to the mission because, as Edmund Burke once said, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. Keep up the fight, keep up the charge. We will win, we are winning, and with your support and your diligence and vigilance efforts, we will protect the unborn. Thank you for being here.
I would not be surprised if the Koch brothers were not behind some of these things. After all, they're funding the candidates, the Republicans at least.
Social media as well. I've just met a couple who've driven 15 hours to be here this morning.
Yeah, I would call that a long-distance commute.
Leading the fight in the United States Senate to defund Planned Parenthood while maintaining high-quality health care for the women of this nation is our very own Joni Ernst. It gives me enormous pleasure to welcome United States Senator
she is here.
Lieutenant Colonel Joni Ernst.
She's retiring from the National Guard, so...
God bless you all. God bless you. Thanks so much.
Be ready to hear some dribble.
Thank you. Take a look to your left and take a look to your right. And you will see that we are surrounded by those that believe in life. I love it. Thanks for coming together because not one person can do it alone. Whether it's the governor, lieutenant governor, whether it's me, whether it's our friends in the Iowa State Legislature, whether it's our friends in the Congress at the federal level, we can't do this without your support, without your prayers, without your well wishes. Every baby matters. Every baby matters. Thank you. I have learned a lot over the past 6-7 months serving at the federal level. And I would tell you that it simply would have been a lot easier just to ignore
the videos that have surfaced out there. Those videos, those gruesome videos that are
They're
exposing
fake.
Planned Parenthood employees, showing them picking apart the body of an unborn baby boy to harvest his organs like a liver, his kidneys, and heart. But today, we're standing up and shining a light on what is really happening behind these closed doors.
Down there's a table
This is
at the edge of the grass.
life.
People that are part of this rally here are
The nation's
selling
single largest
T-shirts that
provider
have
of
sayings on
abortion
them
services
against
is
Planned
harvesting
Parenthood.
baby body parts, human life. Democrats and Republicans alike have called these images
Among other things.
disturbing.
I will not
The
go
American
there
people are
to
shocked and
look at them because I can
horrified
see the shirts as I
by
walk
the
by.
utter lack of compassion and the disregard
So
shown
there are
by
people
Planned Parenthood
sitting in the
for these
shade.
women and their
They don't want to be
babies.
exposed to the sun.
As a mother
What shade they
and
can
a grandmother,
get since the sun is getting pretty
the
high.
gravity of Planned Parenthood's callous and morally reprehensible behavior cannot be ignored, and that's why we are here today.
So again, personally, I think the group that made that video should be thoroughly investigated
I am committed
for falsifying information
because protecting the most vulnerable
and
is
for
an important measure of any society.
just for the
Recently,
graphic
I
nature of
offered
it.
legislation that would defund Planned Parenthood while protecting funding for women's health services.
Unfortunately, not all women are able to get
This legislation
health care
redirects
through
federal
a
funding
non-Planned
taken from
Parenthood provider because they either don't have the insurance or they don't qualify for state or federal health care programs like Medicare, Medicaid, or Medi-Cal in California,
absolutely no reduction in
or
overall federal funding
Indian Health
available
Service if you're a
to
member
support
of a
women's
First
health.
Nations tribe.
Community health centers
so-
provide a more
So men as well as women go to
primary and
Planned
preventative
Parenthood
healthcare
to seek
except
services that they
abortion,
provide if they cannot go anywhere else.
regardless of a person's ability to pay. According to the most recent data in Iowa, community health center sites vastly outnumber Planned Parenthood sites by 7-1. And meanwhile, we hear all about the wonderful services they provide. The bottom line, did you know that Planned Parenthood doesn't even provide mammograms? Not at all. But the hospitals do. The American taxpayer should not be asked to fund an organization like Planned Parenthood that has shown a sheer disdain for human dignity and complete disregard for women and their babies.
What Planned Parenthood does do is they are strict on their confidentiality of their medical records.
That are hard for anyone to defend. I am
Much like any other
honored
medical
to
facility,
join
and they
all of
even
you today
take the
as we
confidentiality
celebrate life.
notch or 3
Together,
above other
we
facilities.
will continue to shine a light on the
But
lack
more
of
people are arriving
compassion
to
shown
listen
by
to this
Planned
dribble.
Parenthood for these women and their babies.
You're hearing this because I'm standing in a position where I can hear it, but I'm actually watching for people's reaction to these pink cars that are lining this street here in front of the Capitol over there through the trees.
Every life has meaning. Every baby can contribute to this wonderful country. And I want to thank you all for being so brave in coming out against the opposition, because we know again that one person is not going to change it, but one person can start it. And we see that now with all of you coming forward together, we are going to defend life, not only in the state of Iowa, but all across the United States. God bless all of you. God bless the state of Iowa. God bless the great United
There are some
States
people over there on those
of
steps
America. Thank you.
taking advantage of the shade that those trees offer. I would say there's probably closer to 500 here now.
By the way, we should point out that Lieutenant Colonel Ernst actually changed her schedule so she could be here today. So we're very grateful to you, Senator, for doing that. That's really fantastic. And seeing as I've just given my rank a couple of times, a whole bunch of people who I know have served have come up to me today. If you make yourself known in the crowd right now, please, that would be great. Let's give it up for our veterans, ladies and gentlemen.
In case you did not understand that, he is calling for any military veterans who are present to stand up to receive acknowledgement from the crowd.
Honored to stand next to you today in this fight. Somebody else who has done that for us today.
A couple of
wants to
cute
be
kids walking
the next
by.
President of the United States. He is someone I call my friend. I traveled to Israel with him about a year ago, almost to the day. Ladies and
APAC
gentlemen,
lackey.
Senator Rick Santorum.
Ooh, Rick Santorum. I'd protest this guy any day. So I'm going to capture his dribble.
Thank you all for being here today. It is so great to see so many people out here standing for the truth. I was on a TV show, a live national TV show the other day, and a reporter was giving my resume, and when he was reading my resume, he said, and Rick Santorum believes life begins at conception. When it started to go on, I said, no, I don't. And he froze. He said, what says here you believe life begins at conception? I said, I do not believe life begins at conception. I know life begins at conception. That's the truth. It's the truth. You go to any biology textbook anywhere in the world, it's the truth. Why? Because our movement is founded on the truth. It's on the truth of the dignity of every human life. The dignity that life not just begins at conception, but it's the obligation of a good and decent and moral society to open its arms and be welcoming to all of God's children in our society. I read a book recently by Andy Andrews. Some of you may have read it. It's a little tiny book. The title of the book is How Do You Kill 11 Million People? You could have read title, How Do You Kill 55 Million People here in America? This book was about the Holocaust. And you know what his answer was in one simple sentence? How do you kill 11 million people? You lie to them. You lie to them.
This guy's a liar.
The abortion industry, Roe versus Wade, all of it is based on a lie about when a child becomes a human being.
Again, those who are just joining me, this is Occupier Keeling coming to you live from a visual display of cars in support of Planned Parenthood. There is a rally sponsored by groups that are opposed to Planned Parenthood. They are making lies about the video that purports to show Planned Parenthood employees making light of harvesting babies' body parts for selling to transplant facilities. And they lie about other services that Planned Parenthood does and does not provide. And so these cars are here to show support for Planned Parenthood services and to be a visual display. Their owners left them here till noon, and they will come back and retrieve them. And that is just the same length of time as this rally down here is going on. So what I'm doing is capturing people's reaction to these cars.
You can't do certain things, and we're going to tell you that the Constitution prohibits you from protecting life, from protecting marriage,
And I'm documenting the lies that
Well, I didn't
these
say no. I didn't say
dribbling
okay.
politicians are spitting out.
When we had the opportunity, we passed another bill that banned partial birth abortion. And we sent it back to the Supreme Court with a whole laundry list of arguments saying, Supreme Court, you're wrong. Partial birth should be illegal in this country. And they voted to keep it illegal in this country, to get rid of partial birth abortion. It's important to stand up. When the court
So
gets it
please
wrong,
feel free to
it's
chat.
important that the other branches
I
of
will
government
check the chat
stand
frequently. I have been.
and call the court out and get it right.
So I'm not an expert on Planned Parenthood. I've never used any of their services.
Planned Parenthood.
I've only known what I've seen in alternative news and talked to
Describe a partial birth abortion.
Planned
What that
Parenthood
doctor was doing in protecting
staff who were here, who have left their cars here, and one who had to leave to go elsewhere.
harvesting organs from those
So you're going to hear a lot of references to that video.
otherwise would be born alive. That's what they were doing. So when people ask
That was
us,
heavily
"Should we fund
edited
Planned Parenthood?"
and largely
I say
faked.
absolutely yes, but that's not enough. We need to prosecute Planned Parenthood for breaking the law.
Who's a representative here from Planned Parenthood? So I
No
can
one
check
else is
some
here.
facts?
This is a visual display only. I'm just live streaming.
Okay, so you're not with Planned
No,
Parenthood?
no, I'm an independent live streamer.
Because they've raised some fact issues there that I was just thought maybe somebody here could maybe give some balance to.
I would suggest you go to their see if they're look for an online annual report
Okay,
and go to factchecker.com.
yeah.
That would be my advice. I'm just here live streaming.
What does that mean? Live streaming?
I am doing a live broadcast through an app on my phone that goes straight up to the internet.
Oh, okay.
And people around the world can watch it.
Okay. Why don't you get closer so you can really get a good...
I can hear good audio here, plus I want to have wide shot of the crowd.
Oh, I see. So when you stream it, it's just audio anyway, right?
Well, it's video also, but I'm showing wide shot of the crowd and these cars. So
I
that's
see.
what I'm doing.
So there's really nobody here from Planned Parenthood.
No.
They just park these cars.
Yeah,
and left.
this is a visual display that they set up.
That's interesting.
Front and center,
Yeah,
making this country a great country again.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And that's how you handle that kind of person.
Ladies and gentlemen, very powerful stuff. Let's bring a little bit of good news. Because on Thursday, Stan Express, they're the baby dead parts middleman in the trafficking business. They lost in court to the Centre for Medical Progress. This is the Truth Exposed rally. The truth will be exposed. Late yesterday, Stan Express severed all ties with Planned Parenthood, ladies and gentlemen.
It's the heat that's causing the balloons to pop.
Every day of the week, I get to share the 50,000 watt blowtorch. That is WHO Radio.
WHO Radio here in Des Moines
A warrior for life.
broadcast
Jan Michelson.
the Rush Limbaugh show, and Rush Limbaugh has been losing stations and viewership because of his extremist stuff. Again, there's a couple more people looking at these cars. Jan Michelson is another reporter for WHO. It is AM 1040. And like I said, they broadcast the Rush Limbaugh show. And there has been an effort to as I say, flush rush to get advertisers to stop advertising during the Rush Limbaugh show nationwide. And radio stations have been dropping him because they are not getting the advertising to cover their cost of broadcasting his show on their stations.
Children are not really family assets as much anymore, but liabilities owned by the government that we are expected to raise. So fewer people get married. So fewer people have children, while at the same time, more people are dependent upon a government check. The word for a system that depends upon more productive people coming into existence while subsidizing their disappearance. There's a word for that. It's called unsustainable. So the fastest way to attack that birth dearth and the abortion ethic is to dismantle the welfare state.
Well, not dismantle, it needs to be changed.
One of my favorite stories. There was a man from Des Moines. He was in modest means. He had a dream. His biggest dream was to go live in a suburb somewhere with his family. He imagined a place, a biblical place called Johnston, Iowa. 2-story, 3-bedroom house.
Johnston is one of the suburbs of Des Moines.
That was his dream. So he scrimped and he saved until at last he had enough money for a down payment and success. He bought a house in Johnston. He found the house, he bought it, and he rented a U-Haul truck, put all of his stuff and his family in the truck, and went to Johnston to his new house. And while he is emptying out the U-Haul, a terrible thought struck his mind. He says, I have a house. Well, that's cool. I have a yard. That's cool. I don't have a lawnmower. I can't afford to buy one. What am I going to do? Then he thought about it. He said, now I live in the suburbs. Everybody in Johnston is rich. I'll just borrow a lawnmower from my neighbor. Problem solved. Well, the next door neighbor is looking out his picture window and sees the fellow emptying out the U-Haul trailer. He says, great! We have a new neighbor! Sure hope he has a lawnmower. So this is where
Well, the only good thing about what this guy's saying is a joke. The lawnmower joke.
Our welfare state will give us, if we're smart, the chance to make every child a blessing of God. Again, thanks for listening.
All that joke says is that people are too materialistic and not thinking about other people.
I want to make a prediction, ladies and gentlemen. If NASA's Curiosity rover today found a live, single-celled creature on a planet, every headline tomorrow morning would scream one word. It would simply say, life. However, if you have a big pie bowl with what are clearly human body parts being sifted through while people figure out exactly how much money they can make out of the carnage, that, ladies and gentlemen, is not life, apparently. I have another friend. I'm very blessed to have the job that I have. I get to meet some incredible people. I get to meet some people that are not that incredible as well, but...
Yep.
Our next speaker,
I want to give a shout out while this guy dribbles on. I want to give a shout out to any restream channel like Global Occupied News Network, who's restreaming my broadcast right now, and any others who may be doing it. You do good stuff. This guy is another extremist politician, and I would protest him in a nanosecond. So for those just joining me, I had Rick Santorum, Governor Branstad, Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds, Senator Joni Ernst, and now Representative Steve King, he has extremist views on other things as well.
And I step out here and look up over behind where I am right now, into that Capitol, and I had the privilege of serving there in the state Senate before I went to Congress. And I remember sitting on the floor of the state Senate when a member of the Senate from the other party stood up, and he said, every child should first be both planned and wanted before they're born. And I will tell you that my stomach flipped over upside down at the very thought that you can think that a baby should be aborted if it wasn't planned, or if they're not wanted by the mother, maybe even the father. And I made this case, and I'll make this here again.
It's another balloon
Every
pop.
baby
It's
is
caused by
planned and wanted
the heat.
by God.
What he is not saying is there are pregnancies that result from rape or incest, or that the embryo or fetus could be so deformed, or could be dead while inside the mother, and she would then have what's called a stillbirth.
That was also part of my task in the House side. And I went to the Supreme Court first, and they said, you didn't define that horrible act. Well, they didn't use the word horrible. You didn't define the act precisely enough. And we don't think that you made it clear that there were congressional findings.
There are some people who are leaving, maybe, or they're going elsewhere here in this area. We occupiers, another activist here called People's Park.
To do such a thing to save the life of the mother. Finally, we went out, as you heard Rick Santorum say. So I've been pretty deep into this, and I've seen some videos and a lot of pictures and listened to a lot of testimony. And I remember an abortionist who found Christ and came and testified to us about the tools he used. And I will tell you that testimony was very moving. And it was ghastly, and it was ghoulish, and it was gruesome, and it was very moving. But it didn't move me like it did when I saw the third of the videos that we've had roll out now from Planned Parenthood. That, when I said what happens in my stomach, I felt my stomach knot up. I felt my heart start to pound in my chest. And what I thought was, this is the feeling I had when I first stepped up to a casket with a loved one in it. That feeling of foreboding, that feeling of dread, that feeling
There are still people over there by the steps, over there by that motorcycle.
When I saw that third video. And so now when I hear people say,
yeah, I still think there's about 500 here. There are more people way over there on the other side of that concrete and brick area where the speakers are set up.
And by the way, I just figured this in my pocket, maybe I can find it. I am in there a little nut. And I just want to dig it out.
I wonder if he has his brain in his pocket.
I carry my pocket every day. And, well, that's not a buckeye, but it is an acorn. And if you remember what acorn, I got the first amendment to cut off all funding to acorn probably 2 years before we saw the videos on what was going on inside of acorn.
Acorn was an organization that their opponents made false claims about. It was a community activist organization that promoted various issues and were against other issues, much like Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement. And so because of those lies, Acorn got squashed. I can't remember what that acronym stands for.
Tell them, or the gentleman call it, nuts. And a particular nut is acorn. That's the model we found.
So they're using the same strategy to
Now make a note.
take away all state and federal funding from non-abortion Planned Parenthood services.
Of crushing the lower extremities of a baby and pulling that baby apart and out, but saving the valuable organs and marketing those organs for this nation to allow that to happen and go on with that after we've seen.
Again, I will stay out here till noon.
Several years ago, it hit the news.
While these cars with all the pink on them are out here, this is a visual display that shows support for Planned Parenthood and all of their services.
Convict the individual, sentence them to death, and harvest their organs.
And I'm watching people's reaction to these cars
We thought that was
while documenting the dribble of these speakers.
And no civilized nation would do such a thing as harvest the organs of someone
Capturing their lies.
under a due process. And we have a sanctimonious attitude about China. What do they think of us today? To see what Planned Parenthood is doing and what so far we have tolerated. And when I hear that we can't, and instead I say this, we must cut off all funding to Planned Parenthood. Hold my ground. And I want to give you another little piece of hope here. This is Iowa. We're standing with the Capitol in the background. We set a standard for the nation. We're a first in the nation caucus. We have 17 Republican presidential candidates coming through the state, 4 or so Democrats coming through the state. You can press every one of them for a public statement on where they stand. And every one of them ought to stand up with us today as Rick Santorum stood up with us today. And I remind us here in Iowa, too, don't think this can't be done here completely. And when the government says you can't cut off funding to Planned Parenthood because it violates a law, what is this, the Obama administration saying that? They're lecturing us about violating the law or the Constitution? What kind of audacity is coming out of the Obama administration?
It's guys like this that actually want to change the laws and the Constitution.
The evidence is there. I believe, from what I've seen, they violated federal law. It's against the law to create body parts. So if you violate it, if somebody comes in and robs a bank and they're on your payroll, you don't have to keep them on the payroll until they're convicted, do you? Especially if you've seen the video evidence. And we don't have to pay anybody we choose not to. So here are the states. Here are the states that have already decided to block funding to Planned Parenthood. Arkansas, just recently, Asa Hutchinson, Edith Cheney. Louisiana, you heard from Bobby Jindal, I think, on that topic. 4 years ago, 2011, Scott Walker signed the legislation in Wisconsin. I believe I heard Rick Perry say this, but I know it's true in Texas. No funding for Planned Parenthood there. Added that Alabama, those folks that are first in the nation, primary New Hampshire. No funding for Planned Parenthood. The Grand Staters, Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, and Ohio.
In all those states, in those states that he mentioned, they have either passed legislation that bans state funding to Planned Parenthood or are in the process of it.
Congressman Steve King, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a world right now.
This guy here is checking out the pink cars that are here that are showing support for Planned Parenthood. He's just walked back and forth along the line of these cars.
That's where we live. We have to change it. Today is a start. We've done a rough count. It's rough because, first of all, people are everywhere. We've got 3 people over there, we've got 3 people over there.
3 people, he's referencing those who are either in the trees or under the trees.
On a glorious Iowa Saturday morning, thank you so much.
The only thing he said that I agree with is that it's a beautiful Saturday morning.
Iowa is important, ladies and gentlemen, but this has to be nationwide. We just heard Congressman King talk about what Scott Walker did in Wisconsin. I'm very pleased to welcome from Wisconsin, Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Kleefisch.
Scott Walker Lackey. Scott Walker survived the recall when people occupied the Capitol and tried to get him out because he busted the state employee union. but he survived that, and he has signed some extremist legislation in Wisconsin.
Formative years in Plainfield, where his father, a minister at a Baptist church, taught his young sons about the sanctity of life. See, Scott Walker grew up at the foot of a man's cloth.
The other
His young boys about the fact
people I've heard earlier say there's no real media here, they're all at the fairgrounds, but I'm here.
every baby in its mother's womb was created in God's own image. That is what our governor,
Just a
Scott
state
Walker,
trooper walking with
knows to be true
someone else there
and
just
believes
chatting.
and fights for every single day in Wisconsin.
He was not arrested, they're just walking and talking.
Now, Scott may have spent some of his formative years here in
Not
Iowa,
making any mention of these cars here.
girls, Ella, who's 12, and Violet, who's 9, are spending some of their formative
There is another man that's standing a few yards from me. He is here with the sole purpose of basically providing security for these cars here. Now the trooper is talking with another person.
Where I come to visit my sister. And if I had my way, I would have
And he is a professional private security type person. And he was taken on by this group to provide security for these cars that are here decked out in the pink. And he will remain here until noon, just like I will. And if anyone tries to mess with these cars, it will get on video. No, this is a visual display. It's purely visual.
Why?
And that is what the organizers wanted to do. I'm just here live streaming.
Okay. Personal opinion?
Nope, I'm just an independent live streamer.
Okay. Oh, here's a fun fact that you might find interesting. Hillary's newest chant is, this is what democracy looks like.
Well, she stole that from Occupy.
I know. I almost went over and beat them with their signs. Well, if there's no actual protest, I'm going to head up to Ames and start planning my whole rally from now on.
The owners of these cars just left. They decorated them. They left them here and just want to leave it as a visual display for these people attending this rally to see.
I don't understand why I'm being disrupted.
Well, you don't have to be disrupted, but you can have a silent vigil.
Yeah. It's just a different creative way to do a protest. And that fan is very, very cute.
She's very happy with it. Yep. I want to head up to Ames.
We didn't wait for any of it.
Let me first message
In fact, we are very first one to Scott Walker defunded Planned Parenthood. In Wisconsin, Governor Scott Walker signed a bill assuring that any taxpayer funding of abortion was illegal. In fact, there is no health care plan on the exchange that is allowed to cover abortion. Last year at the Right to Life dinner, I met a woman named Sonia. Governor Walker signed Sonia's law last year. Sonia was a woman who was facing extraordinary
One of my roommates is from Malaysia, and the other one's from Hong Kong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're a few miles from home.
just a few. My third roommate's from Florida.
Well, that's still a few miles from home.
I'm the only Iowan. I live in an apartment up in Ames now. I'm coming back for the fair.
Yeah. I mean, someone gave me a free ticket, but I'm not going to use it today. I'm gonna go next week
Yeah,
to poke around.
Well, I don't have my wristband right now, but I work grandstand security, so I get that to get
Okay.
in for free.
That's cool.
Well, I get paid to get in.
Yeah.
And Governor Walker has signed legislation to ensure that every woman has the same right to knowing what is going on in their body, knowing that there is a baby that we need to protect. And just a couple of weeks ago, Wisconsin became the 15th state in America to assure that no babies
She's at the Royal Mile. She's going to be here.
The Royal Mile has very good food, by the way.
They do.
Yeah.
Really good
Yeah.
English food.
And you don't even have to drink alcohol to enjoy it. You know, I don't drink alcohol, but I've been in there, had their food. It's really good.
Governor Walker will talk a lot about the fact that he cares deeply about the right to life. And most often he does it in context.
Yeah, Brain Dead was here.
Yeah, we saw him. He had an opportunity to run him over.
But she didn't listen to me when I told her to swerve. I mean, we would have taken out a couple of police officers, but I think it'd be worth it.
No. That's the only reason I didn't swerve. I don't want to take out the popos.
Yeah, not a good time. Yeah, you got to pick your time when you can allow yourself to be hauled off to the can. I haven't risked arrest for a few years, but you know, I would do it again.
It depends on the situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beating Hillary people with their own signs when they chant "This is what democracy looks like." Yes.
That was rough yesterday when they were chanting that.
They did it at Cedar Rapids.
Oh.
And she's in the back pocket of Wall Street, and they're chanting
Oh yeah.
High Wall Street type chants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. But we straight up like destroyed her invisibility. Like, this Rudolph nose is because I almost passed out yesterday from blood sugar.
Ooh, yeah, you gotta watch that.
Yeah.
Low or high?
Low.
Ooh.
It was a rough day, 4 hours out in the sun.
At 90 degrees.
Yeah, that's when you gotta have something like the glucose tabs or the gels or the paste.
Yeah, they gave me a cookie.
Yeah.
They gave me a cookie and put me in the air conditioning.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But it was fun. I actually slept for part of Hillary's speech.
So you missed some of her dribble.
William O'Malley does like a really good impression of Bernie. He's like so good. We thought William was on stage for like half a second when Bernie came out. But William O'Malley was running up and down the line, leading chants. It was awesome.
Let's go eat and we'll do that too.
Yep. I will see you at the next event.
Okay.
Have fun live streaming.
Yep.
Lots of fun stuff coming up. Are you going to go to Bernie's
Boom.
stand today? What's it called?
The Boone County Town Meeting.
No, you know how hard it is for someone who doesn't drive?
Well, they have the shuttle right here.
Yeah, it's $1.
Yeah.
It's $1 if you show a ticket. She's saving her ticket though. Is it true that the Trump is introducing
Yeah, I've seen posts about him introducing that band.
No, I think that was totally just a rumor. At the grandstand, they said there's no truth in this ridiculous notion that. I thought they were kidding. I didn't realize that it was even possible that someone was talking about it. But no, Russ addressed that. Apparently, unbeknownst to me, there was a real rumor. But
yeah, it was a rumor, and they were talking about like, either way, whatever happens, I have to deal with it.
no, he's not using death weapon. He's probably barely going to go on IC fair guns. Okay, ladies, ready?
Okay, see you later, Caitlin.
Later.
See you later, alligator. Have a good day.
You too. The younger of the two women is Heaven Chamberlain. She is an occupier. She is doing canvassing for one of the Democratic candidates for president. But she also said in an Occupy protest some years back that she will actually run for president when she is old enough. So. Yeah, man just gave a woman his sign that he's going elsewhere. And there are more people going in and out of this thing. Some checking out these pink cars, some not. And so these cars individually done, various materials, post-it notes, poster board, balloons, the fringe, pink fringe, among other party decoration materials that have been used. And then when the owners come back, they will take these decorations off at noon when this is supposed to end, so they can just drive away, leaving these as a visual display to show attendees of this anti-Planned Parenthood rally that there are people who support Planned Parenthood. So that's why I'm standing here.
Our newest Congressman David Young.
David Young, I think, pals around with Steve King and is taking on some of his extremism. This woman had her kids look at these, and one of the kids was holding a tiny, tiny doll that I believe came from one of that table over there that was selling t-shirts and other things. And there's a guy standing in front of one of these cars talking on his phone. I think he just randomly chose that spot. It is getting warm, but there's a nice breeze. Yes, they have been highly edited and faked. That will come out.
We've seen the footage. What we see is pretty raw. It's pretty big.
Good to see you.
Who are we as a people if we allow this to go on? How will we be judged? We are to love God. We are to fear Him.
More people are coming in, others leaving, but I think there's still around 500 here. I think this spot kind of gives me a good idea of the crowd size. Although the trees are making it hard to guess over there, but I'm sure there's 100 over there on the other side of those trees.
It must stop. It must stop. And this should not be a controversial issue. This should not be something in the muddy middle where you have to really discern, and it's black and white, folks. It's wrong to traffic and profit from the body parts of the unborn. We have to stop that. And we,
Organ trafficking is actually done by criminal gangs.
taxpayers, we should not be underwriting this egregious,
Not by Planned Parenthood.
by Planned Parenthood or anyone else. Now, I gave some thanks to some folks here in the beginning, but I want to thank our founding fathers for the First Amendment. Our faith means so much to us, and our ability to
If you like the First Amendment, then don't do anything to squash it, dude.
the right to assemble here today, and let's not forget about that other one. The right for you, the citizens, to petition your government and seek change and stop this.
Another balloon pop. It's the heat that's doing that.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless them.
That's the heat that's causing the balloons to pop.
I thank my counterpart who's here today, Steve King. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, you're a Steve King lackey.
Senator Grassley and Joni Ernst. Joni was here today, her work and what they're doing over in the U.S. Senate, and I pledge to work hard in the House to do the same. Now, I was sifting through a cigar box the other night. Not for cigars, but for some old family photos. And I came across a picture of my grandfather in the late 70s, down here at the base of the Capitol at a pro-life rally supporting the unborn. Now, sometimes it takes time. It may take generations to win these battles, but ultimately, we will win the war. God bless you. God bless the power.
Again, for those just joining me, this is Occupy Kaylin coming to you live from the grounds of the Iowa State Capitol. What I'm standing beside is a line of cars that have been decorated with a sort of pink things and signs supporting Planned Parenthood. And this is a visual display against groups that are opposed to Planned Parenthood and promoting the lies that their Planned Parenthood is doing.
So when you watch the media tonight, if you see counter demonstration, you know the lie that is.
Nope, I'm actually capturing your lies, dude.
Every agency in our state has to be involved in this fight.
Not necessarily.
Because you see, there's a whole bunch of Iowa
that would be a budget waster, stupid.
Because we actually want to know who you are. So weird. Think of the disenfranchised who never got the opportunity to be born. Ladies and gentlemen, our Secretary of State, Mr. Paul Payne.
What about those disenfranchised who've had their voting rights taken away illegally?
Thank you. So we all know that life is our most precious resource and it should be protected. As the father of 3 children, 5, 2 talented, and a grandfather of 5, many more to come, I hope. I can tell you there's no greater feeling than holding a brand new life in your hands the first time, literally, in your hand. We all know that. The flyer today. We couldn't think of a better back setting than the state capitol behind this door, Iowa State seat of government, and making sure that your voice is heard. And I thank you for coming out and doing just that. But for your voice to really be heard, for everyone's voice here to be heard, you must register to vote. And you got to make sure you go out and vote. And we need to tell our friends, we need to tell our neighbors, we need to tell our fellow supporters.
There's someone taking pictures of these cars.
How do you do that? Because it's not you.
I'm going to get out of the shot.
Carry this message out. You do it at the ballot box. You do it at the ballot box. And this is a great way to get the message of the state fair going on. Presidential candidates coming into our great state. We know in Iowa, being first in the nation for caucuses, we have a responsibility to share with the state, not only the state but the country, those priorities Americans share. Life is one of the very first.
Some others looking over here as I roam around. I just need to get out of her way so she could get clean shots of these cars. Someone else is taking pictures, so I'm just gonna move out of the way, give her a clear shot.
It doesn't take us 10 years or 20 years to get that done. I hope that we can get this done very soon. Sooner the better. Thank you again.
That one guy is wearing a pro-life t-shirt, but he's taking pictures of these cars. He may use them for propaganda, I'm sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, just give me 45 seconds of your time right now before I bring on our next speaker, and it's relevant. The timing of what I want to say to you is very relevant. And the thought was put into my head by Representative Walt Rogers. In the last legislative session, which took place right behind us right now, they moved mountains to get a gas tax passed in our state. Mountains. The previous speaker ripped apart a committee.
He's walking around the back end of these cars.
Why am I bringing this up? If we can do that for a flipping gas tax, we better be able to do that for the unborn.
The gas tax he's referring to is a statewide gas tax increase, and that revenue is supposed to go to help cover the cost of maintaining our roads here in Iowa. The little kid was looking at this car, seeing all the people.
Good morning. Thank you, Simon. It is so great to see so many here turned out on a really warm day, but wonderful day, all to defend life. So thank you so much for being here. We're all here together to do one thing, and that is to support life. Thank you. Thank you for that. Safety of human life, no matter what stage of development. These undercover videos of Planned Parenthood, like
There's another balloon pop. That's what that noise was. The heat causing it.
and they show everyone else how twisted a society can become if it doesn't value life. Simon is absolutely right. We need to do something in the Iowa House, but let me tell you what the Iowa House did this year. And I want to refer to Lieutenant Governor Kleefisch's comments too, because I'm proud to tell you that each and every one of the things that Scott Walker had the great joy to sign into law, we have sent to the Senate. And guess what happened in the Senate? In the Iowa House, we do work hard every year to protect the lives of the unborn. This session, the state of Iowa made great strides in protecting life, while also keeping women's health in mind. We passed legislation that ensures that any woman seeking an abortion in Iowa will have an ultrasound, will be given the chance to see the life growing inside her, and will be consulted about all the alternatives to ending that life. But we had to fight tooth and nail to get this done, because sadly,
Some of the fringe is coming off of these cars, but that's okay. I'll clean it up later.
women making informed decisions. They don't want women to see the miracle of life. Instead, they want to talk with detachment and disregard, as we've seen in these undercover videos. Last spring, one of the videos, and with little or no fanfare, the Iowa House defunded Planned Parenthood.
No, that is not a done deal. That was just passed by the Iowa House of Representatives.
Rejected federal dollars, and the strings that come attached with that, so that we could fund those things we wanted to do to care for women in the way that we want to do it in this state. While we have a strong majority in the House that was willing and ready to do this, sadly we were not successful because of the leadership in the Senate.
The Senate did not carry through with the House bill that would have defunded Planned Parenthood. They stopped it or did not go through with it. The ugly truth is that video is totally faked. And it is actually propaganda in order to confuse people. And I believe that will eventually come out, that this video is totally faked. I have not seen it and I don't want to, because I've seen enough about it. kid in a much oversized t-shirt. Looks like it could be almost a thobe on a Muslim boy.
Coming together, honoring the miracle of life and God's blessing. Thank you.
More looks at these cars as people are going by there somewhere.
The honorable next speaker of the Iowa House, ladies and gentlemen, under Upmeyer. Okay, every single presidential candidate on both parties was invited here today, including Hillary Clinton. We didn't get a response from Hillary Clinton. Her schedule was just couldn't happen. Oh. But at least we got a response. We didn't get a response from any of the other Democrats, so that's, I guess, a point in the maybe box. Somebody who really wanted to be here is somebody I've got to know very, very well over the past few years. He simply could not make it happen. He is, however, back in the state next week for the big rally. Speaking for him is the former Secretary of State of the state of Iowa, Matt Schultz, speaking the U.S. Senator and presidential candidate, Ted Cruz.
Oh, Ted Cruz. I would love to protest him.
Well, what an awesome crowd. What a great
Maybe
day.
that will happen
And I'll tell you, it's
later
an honor
before the
for me
caucuses.
to send greetings to you, my great friend, Senator Ted Cruz. I love Ted Cruz because he's honest.
Yeah, right.
He stands up for what he believes in, what we believe. And I gotta be honest with you. I'm sick and tired of politicians who stand up and say they're pro-life, but when they go to Washington, they don't stand up for us.
That's okay, I'm just live streaming.
Senator Cruz talks about the Washington cartel. A group of people who just want to
They apparently thought I was just taking a picture, and the tall one ducked to avoid getting in front of my lens, but I told her I'm live streaming. Yeah, I'll move so I can give you a clear shot.
Oh, you're fine. Thank you. Thank you.
This guy's taking pictures of these cars like some others did, so I moved to give him a clear shot. So he's going to take a picture of the line, these cars. I took pictures earlier. I had plenty of shade. I will upload those to Facebook later. That guy's just taking a shortcut in between the cars. Oh, he's going behind him.
How many of you want a leader who's going to go in and prosecute criminally those who violate federal law? These disgusting videos of this. How many of you want a leader who's going to stand up for the unborn and the rights of life?
I think these two might be confused as to why these cars are here, but no counter-protesters. Maybe they don't get the idea that it's a visual display.
He will fight and defund Planned Parenthood. He will prosecute these criminals. And he didn't just say it, he said it right away. This has to be done. He will fight for life. We need leaders who will fight for life, who aren't worried about the media. You know, our Savior Jesus Christ didn't worry about what the Pharisees and Sadducees said. He went to the temple and threw out the money changers. It's time for us to go.
And now there was a bus.
Throw those people out who will not
Bust up those who deal in usury or interest. Another person checking out these pink decorated cars. So people are looking. You know, and I'm pretty sure before this thing ends, others will come up to me and ask what this is about. I'll tell them what I said before. It's a visual display.
Because we tell the truth, right?
by those who support Planned Parenthood and all of the services they provide. Abortion is only 3% of the services they provide nationally.
A lot worse, trust me. That's not an endorsement. But he's here today, not to speak for himself, he's here today to speak for another presidential candidate, somebody I know extremely well, Senator Marco Rubio, and ladies and gentlemen, State Senator Jack Whitmer.
Marco Rubio is another nuthead. I would love to see it get gone.
For being here and allowing me to speak on behalf of Senator Rubio today. And thank you so much for all that you all do to protect life in the state of Iowa. I can tell you as a state legislator, your prayers and your support are very much appreciated and very much needed as we do our work here down at the Capitol. As we move on to this campaign,
Just checking my battery level. I'm pretty good.
As the state chair for Senator Rubio. And briefly today, I'd just like to talk about two things.
I'm hoping I can last till noon.
Why I support
So it's 11:25 on my watch now.
some of his long-held and deeply held positions on protecting life in his career.
But if I go down before 12 o'clock, I'm just not going to come back up because it'll mean that my battery is low. I've been going strong since a little after 10 o'clock. Right around 10 o'clock, I went live. I had an interruption at the very beginning. Someone sent me a text which kills the stream. So I came up immediately after clearing that. I didn't lose much, really.
You know, someone once said, small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, and great minds talk about ideas. There's nobody on the trail right now talking about a bigger, bolder vision for the future of this country to create a new American century than Marco
Pair looking
Rubio.
at these cars going in between them.
It doesn't get into battles between each other. We're talking about...
They're going around the back.
Third of all,
Or they're going across the street.
and there are certainly other great conservatives in this race. There's no doubt about it. But he is one of them. He has a long record from his time in the Florida House to Speaker of the Florida House to the U.S. Senate, now on the campaign trail of being a great conservative. 100% ranking with Americans for
And 100% owned by big corporations and the 1%.
He is a great conservative. But beyond that, we can't just have someone that has a good record. We need someone that can communicate our values to the nation if we're ever going to accomplish anything. If we're ever going to win another national election, we need someone that can communicate our values.
Others looking as I go by.
We have just not done a good enough job communicating our principles over the last few elections. Once we get in office,
There are still people over there on the steps over there on either side, staying in the shade. Others are under the trees here. So even with people coming and going, there's probably still 400 or 500 people out here. Yeah, she went and got an umbrella to shade herself. It's supposed to be near 90 here today in Des Moines. It's 90 Fahrenheit.
I cannot wait for a matchup between a leader from yesterday with ideas from yesterday versus a young, fresh-faced leader with new ideas for a new American century. We will win that race all day. I guarantee it. Now the name of the debate last week, I'm hoping all of you saw it. I want to talk briefly about what happened in that debate. The moderators asked Marco a question. I think they were trying to play gotcha on Mike. They were trying to trip him up and get him to say something he didn't want to say. And he looked that moderator in the eye. He looked 24 million people in the eye through the camera, and he did not flinch when
Yeah, only 24 million people watched that debate. That shows you how little interest people had in it. Making it look like 24 million is a huge audience. You have a population of over 300 million in this country. 24 million isn't a whole lot compared to 300 million.
I believe every single human being is entitled to the protection of our laws, whether they can vote or not, whether they can speak or not. whether they can hire a lawyer or not, whether they have a birth certificate or not.
Someone holding up his sign in front of my lens.
And call us barbarians for murdering millions of babies who we never gave a chance to live. You know, our Declaration of Independence promises us three things. They promise life, they promise liberty,
Heat is causing a couple more another balloon to pop, so that'll probably continue to happen until the balloons are taken off.
And I want to thank Joni if she's still here, Senator Ernst if she's still here. Thank you for your leading the charge in Washington. Marco was very happy. He was proud to support you in defunding Planned Parenthood. Thank you here. Thank you, Joni.
Joni is still in the audience.
Pro-life candidate. And we need someone in the White House that stands for us. And there is no doubt. Marco made it clear in that debate. He stands with us. In closing, a lot of people have said Marco Rubio is the future of the Republican Party. They've been saying it for 6 years. I agree with them. That future is now. Please join us on this campaign. Thank you and God bless.
Rubio can kiss my big fat Polish dupa.
I just want to share a little something with you for a moment before we bring up our next speaker. You see, in addition to this going on today, there's an opening today. What is it? Well, I can tell you that over in Crescent, Iowa, after a 40 Days for Life campaign, Planned Parenthood closed its doors. Although that is wonderful, that is in fact not the best.
Trying to read the chat with the sun. That's kind of hard.
Of the Life Care Clinic in Crescent, Iowa, in that building.
So, hey Riley, if you're watching this, giving a personal yell to you, have you got your ice cream?
We wanted somebody to represent the Iowa State Senate. That is Senator Ken Rosenberg, ladies and gentlemen.
As you can probably guess, only Republican members of the legislature are being brought out to speak. Waving at that woman gave a wave. I don't, because she had a pink shirt on her shoulder. I'm assuming that she got it from over there. But she waved.
The reality is that every time a decision is made on abortion, there are intensely personal.
Who knows? Maybe she thought that I'm in support of this rally against Planned Parenthood.
In late 1986 in Rochester, Minnesota, by his mother Christy, the father who denied him responsibility. Christy's circumstances were difficult. She was 15 years old, drinking heavily, using every drug she could get her hands on. She was pregnant, with no husband, had been kicked out of her house. In the judgment of Betty, the best option would have been to...
Here's a good look at the pup. You're welcome.
She may well have been advised to do that. But Christy found another path. She found her way from Rochester to a place called the Lighthouse in Kansas City. The Lighthouse is a non-profit organization whose mission is to provide a home, prenatal care, work training, counseling, and delivery services to young, scared girls like Christy. About half the children that are born at the Lighthouse go home with their mother. The other half are put up for adoption. None are aborted. After Dustin Jake was born in August of 1987, Christy went back home to Rochester with her new baby. She cared for Dustin for 3 months, and she decided she could not raise this child on her own. She was only 16. So she went back to the Lighthouse for about a month, where they counseled her in the agonizing process of giving Dustin Jake up for adoption. She chose an adopted family and returned to her home. The adopting parents were delighted with their baby son finally having a second child they so desperately wanted to complete their family. They named him after Eli. Matt, like his big sister, was a delightful baby. Unlike his big sister, Matt was a difficult child to raise. He was not troublesome, but he really didn't like school very much. Every day for school,
More people going back and forth, some looking at these pink cars, some not.
For both his mother and father, he got passing grades, but it was a struggle for him, and even more so for his parents. All Matt ever wanted to do was join the U.S. Army.
Again, for those just joining me, this is Occupier Caitlin. I'm on the grounds of the Iowa State Capitol. I'm standing next to a line of cars that have been decorated with pink in support of Planned Parenthood as a visual counter-protest to this rally by people and groups opposed to all of Planned Parenthood services.
Matt spent 6 years in the Army, mostly in Alaska, with 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan. He now works on the North Slope of Alaska because he fell in love with the state when he was stationed. As some of you in this crowd know, my wife and I have another name for Matt. We call him our son.
More people looking. So at noon, this rally is supposed to end. And at that time, the owners of these cars will come back and take the pink off to drive them away. And I'm just staying here until they do that. There's another guy who is also hanging out here. His sole purpose here is to just be a security for these cars so that no one tries to mess with them. But if they do, I'll get it on video. Maybe me standing here shooting a video is fooling those who might want to mess with these cars.
There, for the first time, I saw the face of Christy. On the following day, Wednesday, Whitney called me to tell me he had talked to Christy over the phone. On Thursday, Valentine's Day, Matt called his birth mother. When she answered the phone, instead of hearing the silent, humming voice,
a motorcycle with a radio turned up loud going by. This guy speaking now, sometimes his voice gets a little soft.
I hope you take 2 lessons from my brief history of Dustin J. First, the next time an abortion advocate tries to tell you that difficult circumstances justify the death sentence for an unborn baby, I want you to tell them the story of Dustin J. or tell them to come talk to me. Number 2, the value of the unborn baby.
There is a bus over there. That might be the bus that was used to bring some people from out of town or out of state here.
Thank you.
Check my juice again. I'm still going. I haven't got the low battery warning yet.
We've had state troopers here watching our backs. They're standing there still with their uniforms.
State troopers who serve the interest of the 1% and brain dead.
Our next speaker, I've known him really since I've been here in Iowa, but I got to know him real well about a year ago because there was a trip that went out to Israel. Senator Rick Santorum organized that. I had the honor of being invited.
He probably went to visit Netanyahu.
They were going to Israel, so they needed a Jew, right? I mean, I had to go. So I went with, and they
someone else looking at these cars here.
Week and broadcast my show from Jerusalem, which was very interesting while the rockets were flying. Ladies and gentlemen, from a family leader, someone I get to call friend now.
Family leader is a very right-wing organization that is even more right-wing than I believe Iowa Right to Life is.
Blessing to see everybody. My devotions today was on 1 John 3, verse 18. I thought, how appropriate for today. Because 1 John 3:18
The beeping
says,
is that
"Let us
bus.
not love
It beeps because it's backing up
but let us love with
a
action
little,
and
backed
truth."
up a little bit
It's time
to
for
reposition.
action and truth, and done with speeches to the fight around the world. This year I feel a bit like an international travel. I got to go to Israel with Simon, and then again this past winter. I also got a chance to go to Poland, in Krakow, Poland. And while in Krakow, Poland, we had the opportunity to visit Auschwitz.
What's that?
And Birkenau. And they wanted to impress on you that this was the educated that did this. The Holocaust was done by the hands of the educated, the political elite, the doctors, the scientists. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? And on these state capitol grounds, and yes, behind me is the Capitol, but behind you is the memorial to the Holocaust victims that went through that. And one day, my guess is,
I think he's wrong into equating Holocaust
that were terminated in this country.
with abortion. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but he's a nuthead.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to be encouraged when you leave here today, and to be united as you leave here today for the sanctity of human life. But we live in extraordinary times, and those
I wonder if this guy is so pro-life that he would. I don't think he's pro-life enough in that he doesn't support providing basic services to all people, the poor, the needy, unemployed.
No matter what the legislation, we will stand up and we will defund it.
The elderly, the disabled. It's nutheads like him who don't support services for those people.
U.S. Senator Joni Ernst for calling the U.S. Senate out and saying, let's have a vote to defund Planned Parenthood. That didn't go. That was a show vote. Now put Planned Parenthood on an appropriations bill and send it to Obama's desk to shut Planned Parenthood down.
Unfortunately, I could not understand what that guy who passed by him was mumbling. Sorry about that.
And shut the government down if we can't shut Planned Parenthood down.
Yeah. Well, actually, what you do to read chat while streaming is on Ustream. There is a little chat bubble to the left of the share icon. You tap that, and that will bring up the chat. You can still see your subject, and you can see a line where you tap on the white line or whatever color happens to be on your particular device. You can tap on that, and then that will bring up the keyboard where you can type. But sometimes in certain environments, you may not be able to type your chat. It's just something with the signal itself or the building. I don't know. But sometimes I've been outside and not able to type into the chat. But that is basically how that works on Bamboozer. You see. It'll pop up and then it'll disappear. You cannot toggle it on and off or switch it on and off at will like you can with the Ustream. And you cannot respond. You cannot type back to your Bamboozer viewers. You have to voice your response to them. And sometimes it doesn't stay up long enough for you to actually read it. So that's one thing I don't like about Bamboozer. But Ustream, you can type a response unless the environment prevents you from doing that. And you can keep it up as long as you want. So that's how that works. I hope that helps. There's still about 400 to 500 people in here. Yeah, it has.
We've had people flee to the trees, and I don't blame them on both sides. We've had people that really stood in the heat. Thank you very much.
Some grabbed umbrellas to block the sun. Yeah, I'd say at the height there was probably about 500, there's probably about a couple hundred, 300 now. People have been going in and out of here all during this thing. Again, equating the Holocaust with abortion, which is totally different. It's a totally different thing that
now we're being told
it's a totally different circumstance.
It doesn't mean anything. That's not a real human being. We have doctors who deal in this kind. It has to stop, ladies and gentlemen. We have to defund Black Parenthood and shut it down.
I hope this idiot isn't taking the phrase "shut it down" from Black Lives Matter.
We have a busload of people who are unloaded and smaller buses as well. We have one couple who I told you about who drove 50 hours to be here today, the power of the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Our next speaker is also somebody I
think this speaker might be the final one.
very well on that journey.
Given the time, it's about 11:45.
As he gazed out for the very first time in his life on the garden of Sarah, tears rolling down his face. He's an honourable man. He's driven all the way from the Sioux City area to be with us today.
Sioux City, that's not a long commute compared to the couple who drove 15 hours. Huh, that's nothing, dude. I think someone is commenting over there about what these pink decorated cars are for. I can't really understand. Or they might be talking about that bus over there. They're showing needs to move so this other car can go through. Yeah, there's a cloud moving over, so that's why it's darkening up just a little bit. Just a little cloud, just enough to cover the sun.
They also believe in the power of acting after we pray. The Bible says faith without works is dead. It can't get any worse than dead. So if God believes faith without works is dead, what must he think of prayer without action? It's important that we do both. We have to pray and we have to act.
So,
one of the things that we have to do is
as you can tell, they're using Christianity to support their views. Can you get up over that? Yeah, I think she might need a little assist.
And the things that we've seen in these videos is just the tip of the iceberg. Imagine what you haven't seen and what you don't know yet.
If I had to get someone to offer that woman in a wheelchair an assist, she couldn't get up from the grass onto the sidewalk. And so she did get an assist. I probably wouldn't have if I wouldn't have said anything.
Some of what he's doing, the happy part of it is you. Standing here today and then eating together.
Ooh, that breeze feels good.
Unity. Love for God, love for country. I was reading in the Bible a couple of days ago, actually. I just did a ministers conference. Pastors came around the United States. And you know how you read through the Bible and you come across something you've read the passage before, you know it 80,000 times, and something hits you. You never noticed before, right? I found the story of King Josiah. King Josiah, of course, the Bible says, is the greatest king. There's never been one like him before or after. Next to Jesus. And Josiah's story is amazing because Israel had degraded itself and become worse, the Bible says, than the nation.
This man is carrying a Catholic icon, Virgin of Guadalupe, or Virgen de Guadalupe. It is a very popular Catholic icon or image.
Their concepts of Baal, and Baal was about a 30-foot statue of this monstrous-looking thing leaning forward with two hands and a big iron bowl in his hand. And and they built a fire beneath the bowl. The flames would come up to temperatures reaching well past 2,000 degrees. And in Baal worship, they would take their infants and set them on the searing hot bowl, and the children would be burnt to death. But it created a problem for the government of King Manasseh. Manasseh was the great-grandfather of Josiah. And I look at my own country, I look at the condition that we're in right now, and I find myself asking the same question I know good and well many of you are asking: is it even possible for us to ever turn this mess around? And I'm sure Josiah,
I have gone to yellow, but I haven't gotten a low battery warning yet. But when I do get that low battery warning, I'm just gonna go ahead and archive my stream, because at that time it's about to end anyway. So I might not capture all of this, but that's okay. But you know, I'll have most of it, and when I get home, I'll toss this up onto YouTube. So on YouTube, you'll see my videos on the channel with my name, Kaylynn Strain. That's Kaylynn. So you look for that channel on YouTube, you'll see my stream videos that I put up there. That's how I archive them, since I don't pay for Ustream server storage.
Recognizing the evil that they were doing. I didn't know any of that because I went to the book of Chronicles and I found Josiah 2 generations later. And it says that King Josiah discovered the Bible. He had it discovered hidden in the caves because his great-grandfather Manasseh had launched an all-out attack on the authority of the Mosaic Law, the Old Testament. And he burned everything that he could find. They literally threw the Bible out of their government and burned it so that no one could ever hopefully read it again. Well, some daring priest had hid a few scrolls of our Old Testament in a cave. For 2 generations they protected it until they saw a king that had a conscience.
The wind is picking up, might be trying to take some of the decorations off these cars. Some of them have already lost some, with the fringe coming off or breaking, or other things coming off, balloons popping. But the owners will be back pretty soon to de-pink their cars. This thing over here is supposed to end at around noon, so I think this guy might be the final speaker. I got the low battery warning, so I'm going to go ahead and take my stream down and archive it. I'm not going to take time to ask you to check out my donation sites, but do check them out, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you.